Thousands of Indian farmers have resumed their protest march towards Delhi. Now, the farmers are demanding a legal guarantee on minimum support price on 23 crops, along with other policy changes. Talks with the government so far have failed to clear the logjam. More than 14,000 people and over 1,200 trucks are currently present at the Punjab-Haryana Shambhu border. Farmers have brought in JCBs and other earth-moving machines to break through the barricades that have been set up to deter their movement and march towards the national capital. The farmers are also equipped with gas masks to deal with security forces' smoke and tear gas shelling. Currently, we're getting you live visuals from the Shambhu border. There is a lot of movement within the crowd as they are being held from entering and moving towards the national capital. There have been reports of tear gas which has been shot towards the protesting farmers. A lot of them have now resorted to wearing masks. A lot of them fled towards the fields. And they have also brought in JCBs and other earth-moving machines to move past the barricades which have been set up for them. Now, the Shambhu border is approximately 200 kilometers from the Indian national capital, but it has been fortified by several layers of barricading. Now, the central government has conveyed a strong objection to the Punjab government. The Union Home Ministry urged the state police to take strict action against those breaking the law. The state government has now placed a ban on movement of earth-moving machines towards the border. The government of Haryana is also on high alert. Haryana police have arrested several protesters early morning in Manesar. They were trying to march into Delhi via Gurugram. Multiple borders of Delhi have been sealed or partially closed for the day. Tikri and Singhu borders particularly have been totally sealed, while Ghazipur and some other crossings in Greater Noida have been partially closed. The Delhi police have issued an alert advising people to avoid these routes. Agitating farmers started their protest march earlier this month from India's northern state of Punjab. They were, however, stopped at the Punjab-Haryana border by Haryana police. Now, multiple clashes were reported in recent days as the farmers emphasized on their right to carry out peaceful protests. Now, during the fourth round of talks with farmer leaders, the government offered a proposal. That was the last round of talks which have happened till now. The government offered to procure 5 crops from the farmers at MSP, minimum support prices, under a 5-year contract through its cooperatives. The farmers rejected that proposal, saying that the proposal was not in the best interest of the farmers.
We got to know that the farmer leaders are not satisfied with our proposal, but we should continue to engage via dialogue and strive towards finding a peaceful resolution.
And for the latest on this, we are now being joined by our correspondent, Dharamjot Kaur, who's on ground from the Shambhu border, the Punjab-Haryana border. Dharamjot, I hope you're able to hear me clearly. I understand you're in the midst of a lot of pandemonium. I want to get a better understanding of what's going on ground. Can you get us an update?
Well, Shivan, at the moment, of course, there's no movement happening right now. The government has proposed a 5th round of talks with the farm union leaders. So after multiple discussions and press conferences here, the union leaders are currently mulling over what step to take next. Of course, earlier we had heard that the movement by the farmers is supposed to start at 11 a.m., but that has not happened as of now because discussions are still ongoing. Both sides want to make sure that they can solve the problem and, the list of demands of the farmers through conversation and nothing else. There is a lot of commotion and chaos around me. Of course, you can hear sounds in the background. There's loudspeakers.
We can see smoke behind you as well. Dharamjot, can you tell us? Are these tear gas shells being fired?
Yeah, so intermittently, yes. Intermittently, tear gas shells are being fired over here, Shivan.
Yes.
It happened a couple of hours ago as well. And just right now, as you can see, tear gas shells have just been fired near the border. Of course, there are thousands of farmers who are gathered over here. There are discussions and speeches going on loudspeakers. But yes, a slew of tear gas shells being fired at the moment, relentless, one after the other. Farmers are wearing safety gear to ensure that there is minimum damage, of course, but a lot of commotion, a lot of movement at the moment. However, the farmers are not moving towards or breaking the barricades at the moment, so I would like to make that clear. Shivan?
Dharamjot, of course, request you to be safe as well, because we see a lot of commotion taking place on ground. As we just saw while you were speaking, several of these farmers were running back from the border area. A lot of them have their faces covered as the tear gas is being fired as well. There has thankfully not been any violence which has taken place at the moment, but as you said that the march has yet not started as the barricading is very much in place. I wanted to also understand from you a fifth round of talks. Do you get a sense of that from the ground? Do you feel the farmers would want to wait it out and for the fifth round of talks and then continue or restart this movement towards Delhi, or are they firm that they want to march towards Delhi before any further talks happen?
See, Shivan, the farmers are very clear. They have for years now, especially after the last farmers' protest in 2020-2021, they say that the government had proposed that they will form a committee on MSP and a policy will be passed soon. However, 2.5 years later, we're still at the same point. The farmers are saying that there is no implementation, and that's what they're particularly looking for, which is why they say they're running out of patience. Talks have been happening for months and for years. Of course, even now, there's a fifth round of talk that has been proposed. But the farmers are adamant they want to see some action. They want to see, the policy and a legal guarantee law being implemented on the minimum support price. So, of course, they are holding back on action till farm union leaders tell them to. But as you can see, yes, tear gas shelling keeps going on. Of course, no JCB has broken any barricade as such. None of that has happened.
Dharam, we just saw a visual
and discussions
We just
going
saw
on.
a visual of a drone which has dropped. Are the tear gas shells being thrown via the drones?
Yes.
How is it commencing? If you can explain better.
So the security forces are using drones to drop tear gas shells, of course. But as we saw last time as well, there were kites that the farmers had used to somehow disable the drone. But yeah, Shivan, a lot of commotion
Dharam, how
at the
far?
moment, of course.
How far?
Back-to-back tear gas shells being thrown.
Yes, how far into the across the border are the drones coming in so to deter the crowd?
Shivan, from where you can see the visuals, about 500 to 800 meters off that point is where all the security and barricading has been done. But as you can hear the uproar and commotion now, the drone has taken a turn back.
Yes.
They've stopped tear gas shelling for the moment, of course. So a wave of jubilance and happiness just went up amongst the farmers at the moment. There's a pause in drones at the moment. Of course, there are kites flying in the sky that the farmers are using as a method to disable drones, like they had a week back as well on February 13th and 14th when initial clashes had taken place at the Shambhu border.
What's the frequency at which these tear gas are being released towards in the midst of all these farmers, Dharamjot? Because one we just saw on visual at the moment while you were speaking, the cameraman had the glimpse of the drone right at the right time. But how often are these gas shells being dropped between the farmers?
So, Shivan, it happened about a couple of hours ago as well. At around 11:15 a.m., there was a round of tear gas shells that was thrown into the Punjab side of the Shambhu border. Of course, there was a lull in the middle. There were press conferences and discussions going. They're still going on at the back, a couple of kilometers away from where we are at the moment. But this you saw was probably the second round of shelling today morning in terms of tear gas shells being thrown at the farmers. But yeah, so far no damage as such, because farmers are obviously prepared. They saw what happened last time, so they're wearing their own safety gear, like they're wearing masks and swimming goggles and protective eyewear. So at the moment, no clashes and no violence as such, but yes, the farmers are also staying alert. A drone is again approaching the area.
Yes, we see some movement in the farmers suddenly
tear
again.
Gas shelling is going on.
Yes, if you can explain better, because we see everyone rushing towards your direction is from where I could understand where you were standing, but there is some commotion within the crowd. Again, is there another round of shelling, of tear gas shelling which is taking place?
Yeah, so what's happening at the moment, Shivan, is there is a drone up, at the Punjab side of the border right now. Of course, the farmers are staying vigilant. They're keeping a track so that they're prepared to run or to move back as and when the tear gas is thrown. Of course, the farmers also don't want any injuries or any medical complications, But as much as I can see from here at the ground, there's obviously water also being sprayed. The farmers are ready with wet gunny bags and rucksacks that they're using to kind of diffuse the smoke from the tear gas. But the drone at the moment has not thrown another round of tear gas shells as of 5 minutes ago. So it's right now there's just surveillance going on. There are multiple rounds that they're taking from the Haryana side of the Shambhu border. But of course, thousands are gathered over here. They're ready with their masks on as and when something happens, so that they can, they can take a step back and they can minimize on injuries. Shivan?
Dharam, since the morning we have been hearing news of JCBs which were being brought in, or earth-moving machines. Of course, we don't see any of them in the current visuals. If you can give us a sense of, how far away they are from the border, or if they have made any kind of appearance here, at least where you're positioned.
So, Shivan, the machines came in here last evening and last night, of course. The farmers are trying to prepare for any, instruction from the farm union leaders in case they're told to move forward towards Delhi. So the JCBs and the excavation machines are very, very close to the border. Of course, there are multiple of them placed at every few meters. So when need be, by and by, if push comes to shove and the farmers are told to move towards the national capital, they will use the machinery, which they didn't have, of course, a week ago, but they do have it now. So a lot of them are currently present right near the border where the security personnel and the layers of barricades are. Of course, there are a few of them present behind as well. The trucks and trolleys over here, about 12 to 1300 of them, they run for miles and miles on the Punjab side of the border. So intermittently, there are a lot of machines that the farmers have brought in over the last few days. Shivan?
All right, Dharamjot, we're going to leave you for now. Of course, we are going to be tracking this closely because you're right there on ground. You've been covering the protests ever since they began. And I would again insist that please stay safe while you're there. That was Dharamjot Kaur, our correspondent, joining us from the Shambhu border, getting us the latest on what's happening on the farmer front.